You don't need a motion.
We are.
We'll get it all worked
No,
out. We'll get it all.
Start that.
Okay, call the committee of the whole meeting, Cal 11A 2024 to order at 6:31. Okay, any agenda additions?
Are we gonna have an opportunity to just have an open discussion at some point during this meeting? Like about just certain things?
Oh, yes.
Okay, if I have to add stuff, I'm adding stuff, but if I don't, and we can just have an open conversation about some things.
I understand that we'll be adding subcommittees to our discussion.
There you go.
Yeah, subcommittees and, yeah, okay. I think I can, all right, that's what I want to talk about.
So where do we add
We-
it, number 7?
Mr. Mayor, sorry, we're gonna have 2 meetings tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Like,
We have the
special.
Okay, no agenda additions, adoption of the agenda,
we don't have to.
Yeah.
I did.
declarations of interest, financial statements. Yep, shouldn't be any. Council absences, has anybody heard from
She might not remember that it started at 7.
that it started at 6:30?
Oh, at 6:30.
Yes.
I know Troy was in a meeting I had today and he is coming, so he might also not realize.
Yeah,
it's
just
6:30.
text her. So just hold off on that.
Yep, we will. And now delegation, open sky.
You're on.
Real. I don't know where to start and how to do this. Was a letter forwarded, which Open Sky had written?
No,
Okay.
you just understand that yours was a verbal proposal or discussion to start.
Discussion to start with, and then Mitch mentioned that we should have written a letter, so I forwarded it to him, but I'm not sure, I guess it wasn't forwarded in the beginning of October. So we had a verbal discussion with Mitch at some point regarding the space Open Sky is currently located in, which is in the basement below the library and the fire hall. As we were trying to move from the downstairs space upstairs, because right now it's a decent space, but it is not accessible for a lot of our elders and people with disabilities. So we very often get the feedback of, oh, we're sorry, we can't come down and meet you guys. And then at the beginning of fall, there was actually a water leak in our storage unit, like our storage room in the basement. So we had to move everything out of that room and currently can't use it because every now and then there's still some water coming through it. And we obviously don't want to lose any of our supplies. And when that was brought up, Mitch had mentioned that there might be a better space for us than moving just upstairs from where we are right now. Because as I understand, there might be some development in the upstairs area happening, and the community garden still has an office there. So the thought came of the VIC building, because that building is standing empty right now for at least 6 months of the year. And especially in the winter months when most of the Open Sky activities are happening, that building is empty. So we thought with having like a verbal meeting with Mitch there, that it might be a good way for us to go into that space, which would then open the Visitor Information Center 12 months of the year. So we wouldn't have it staffed 8 hours a day, but whenever our staff is there, that building would be staffed and open to the public, and would also give in summer the opportunity for visitors to buy more local crafts because it would be just right there. Yeah. So it was,
So you want to move?
we would love to move. We would love to move. It would definitely be better getting out of the basement space, just for like space and accessibility ways. But yeah, so we thought we'd just bring it forward and see what the general consent.
So from the organization's perspective, if we had the opportunity to further discuss this at committee.
Yeah.
And, if the consensus is to move forward, drafting a lease rental agreement between yourself, your society and village. Yeah, we'll talk about the details of what presently is a part of that lease and see where council wants to go, so. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Are you open the whole day or just half a day?
Just half a day, so open from 9:30 to 1 currently.
Oh, okay.
Because just with the fundings we're getting, we have barely enough to pay for rent and utilities and myself, so unfortunately we can't for being open right now all day.
Because the VIC, it's owned by the government, correct? Or is it?
The building is
Yeah,
owned by the village.
is it on the village now?
And we sort of coordinate and contract with ITI to provide the staff to staff VIC
Yeah.
in the summer. And so there's many different things that we can talk about that may work for both sides.
Yeah.
So,
Because when I moved here almost 20 years ago, yeah, the Open Sky was located at the VIC. And at that time, the village offices were the the old library is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got lots of room.
I remember years ago, I believe, Open Sky has submitted a request with the Chamber of Commerce, and I think to operate there. So I'm not sure if that happened before. Did you guys apply for that before? I'm really full support to the organization, but still, and I would like to see the administration, because I know that as it's owned by the village, there is some cost regarding that building. And how are we gonna deal with that? Definitely gonna be covered in the agreement or the lease agreement with them. So my question is, was it before? Because I remember we approved something before with the Chamber of Commerce and Open Sky or something like that came to the council.
No, I thought in the Chamber of Commerce.
So a few years ago, there was a talk, but the Chamber of Commerce was hoping that, because I'm currently the only part-time staff, that I would take on their work of Chamber of Commerce, which we are already on capacity of the program and everything we can offer. So with the current budget we have, we are not able to take on the administration for another organization, which is just, too much.
Any other questions?
we'll have further discussions and we will be in touch.
Sounds good. Would you like the
Yes.
draft letter? I can give it to you. I'm not sure where it got missed in. There was a hard copy somewhere as well, so.
Okay.
Great, good.
Thank you. You can stay for the meeting if you wish. You don't have to.
I haven't been home for the whole day, so I think I would prefer leaving if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if there are any other questions, let me know and I'm happy to come back and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, some discussion matters, the 2023 financial statements. Discussion of.
They're not on till 7. So,
Everybody take a break.
might be an opportune time to bring up any items that anybody wants to add, i.e. subcommittees and things of that nature, so.
I do have a question. Are you going to be on Teams with the auditors or not?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the auditor's coming out then.
Yeah, how come we only have these pages? We don't have the full audited FS?
You will get the big thing tomorrow, but
Oh,
I guess the focus of what was being contemplated talk about was the the deficit reported at the end of '23 of 1.139 million. And so we wanted to have them focus on that. And, as we move through the budget, we'll talk about 2024 a little bit to show you what's being forecast and then go forward. But if there's other questions councilors may have, certainly. But I expect that by the end of the week, the full financial statement will be forwarded to you all. Okay.
Sorry, Troy said, he forgot it's 6:30, he said he's on before.
Why didn't he read his email? Didn't email.
Right, there was a reminder you sent, an email reminder that we start at 6:30 today.
Yeah, for the delegate. And
License.
so, do you want to go to subcommittee discussion?
Yeah, we go to the subcommittee's discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly concerned about some of the things, but, I think my issue about what happened last week, I was saying, Rashenda and Renelon, before you guys came in, for me, and I know because Moz just explained the act, but when we were talking about committees, Moz said question, and that was the end of the discussion, and we weren't allowed to talk about it. And I feel like as counselors, we should have said, like, I know we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I know who the finance people are sitting around this table, so they should be that committee. And there's people that are passionate about, community development, and they should be a part of that committee. And I think that as a council, we should be able to decide on together, collectively, just talking, who are on those committees. And so when my brain, and I'm sorry, I am very new to this council and I appreciate your guidance, but I'm a doer. So for me to table things to next meetings when I know these can be just done, with us communicating, it really kind of bothers me. I get that it's a part of the act law, so thank you for that. But I just I think there's a time and space for things, and topics like a committee, I think we should have been just able to have the conversation. And Kathy, which one do you want to be on? Rashenda, which one do you want to be on? Let's do this so that the committees are done, because I think the committees are valuable and important. So that was basically my thing. Can I talk about the other things, or can I just talk about those things? The committee. I'm like, I don't even know when I can talk now.
Yeah, same here, I don't know.
Yes, and so-
Do you want to resolve the subcommittee?
I would love to resolve it, but I feel like Troy had a really big issue with it, so I feel like we need to have those people here, unfortunately, to just say, who wants to be on what,
Yeah, I sort of picked the committees to what I thought was best for the community, right? Not everybody got to be on the committee they want. I never even see the 1 to 5 list, right? I just made it.
You should.
But then the committees would be the same as last year, same as year before, right?
Not necessarily.
Pretty well, right?
There's
So
only a few of us here.
4 old ones,
Yeah.
4 new ones.
do we know who's on the committees from last year? For
We only met the HR committee,
KVHR committee?
and who else?
I don't have that right here.
Yeah, they didn't really meet.
Mhm.
Hey? Well,
Yeah,
HR committee met, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, HR committee, I believe, met twice, and the rest of the committees, I don't think any committee met except the community, from the community development. They had 2 meetings, I think, or 3 meetings, and they were not even fully attended by the councilors. And that's one. The second thing, as we open this discussion, I didn't, when I brought the act and when I talk about the act, an example, I'm gonna give you just an example. When I put my name on the HR committee, I'm not related to anyone in this community. So that's where I felt that I could fit, that when I deal with HR, I won't have any conflict of interest. That's one of the reasons that I put myself in that committee. And I don't remember the other committee, honestly. And as I mentioned, that it's a volunteer job, it's volunteer work. Wherever you think that you will fit, for example, I have to be honest with you, wherever there is a finance committee, I prefer finance people to be there. Because I know Renalyn and Rasheen, that they are finance people. So their expertise will help us to make things easier. And if, like, even their comments on when it comes to finance, like they read between the lines, which other people might not. So that was my opinion on that, but it wasn't meant to put an obstruction or obstacle in front of people. The reason for that, we have to be also prepared before we come to the meeting. I could bring something to the meeting, but I have to be really prepared, like to get what. I'm gonna give you an example right now. After this meeting, we're gonna have a special meeting. And that special meeting, I don't know if you guys, if the councilors know or not, we cannot add any additional agenda item unless in one and two conditions. We can add if we put 48-hour notice to the public, or if the whole council agreed unanimously to add an item, which is, I don't think I'm going to support that, because we want also the community to know what we are doing, for more transparency, for more outside public input. And that's the only reason for that. But it wasn't made to, and still we have to follow the law, we have to follow the act. So we can't just break the law and say, oh, we don't know. New councillors might have the excuse, but as an old councillor who read the act and read the Robert's Rule of Order, I feel like it's morally, I cannot just follow with the herd. So just, oh yeah, let's go do that. So right now we're gonna have a special meeting. They're gonna be no agenda item. Even if everyone agreed, I won't agree, and that's my right. So it's an obstacle I'm gonna have. It's a right that as a councillor I could practice. For question, every councillor have the right to call for question. But there's another issue. When I moved I remember that motion specifically, I was the one who moved the motion. So according to the act, according to the Robert's Rule of Order, I do have the right to be the last speaker.
Yep.
Yeah, I do have the right to be the last speaker, and I can call for a question after that. Those are things that I think we need to leave the them but I didn't mean anything else. I would love to see us going ahead and move ahead. Thank you.
I just think it's important that if there's terms of reference for each of these committees, however, 5 of them or whatever, that each of you know what they are and what the responsibility is for each of you on these committees. And if we're going to have them, then they need to be functioning and they need to be supported, right? So, and also I would recommend that they need to have a report space at the table when we have a meeting. So if there's finance, they work with the SAO, whoever's doing finance, to do the report. Those kinds of things are really critical, and it also then means that we're doing our job. Yeah, so I don't know if any of you have seen any terms of reference for any committee, but before you decide to sit on any committee, it's not just about your expertise, it's about understanding what you're expected to do at the committee. So that's my and you've got terms of reference for all of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my understanding of the subcommittee, like what you said, it's a volunteer one. Since our mayor would be an ex-official, right? So the committee would consist of, I don't know how many people, but there would be a chair in charge of each subcommittee. And during the committee, my understanding is that you talk ahead of time so that you're prepared when you sit in a regular meeting on what is your proposal to be submitted or presented to the council and the mayor. And basically, that's why the mayor is ex officio. You don't have to contribute, you can just be an observer. But this is something we wanna propose, and that's what we wanna show, put it on the table for, approval or not.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In fact, the mayor specifically in these committees is different than the ex officio in other committees around the NWT. The mayor has a vote in these committees, always. The mayor have a vote, they can vote or break a tie or that's the role of the mayor. Other than the NWT committees, generally, usually the ex officio, they don't have that power. That's one. The other issue which I remember also, I'm sorry, I forgot it. It's important, but I forgot.
Oh, no.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, and these are also, I know some of us have the training and some of us, they don't have the training, but I would like to see, we are in general discussion. So I would like to see us respecting the mayor as a position. We don't have, we have to follow Robert's rule of order here. If we want to talk, we talk to the mayor. We don't have even to talk to delegates. We don't have to have a side chat on ourselves. We direct whatever our question to the mayor. And that's one. The second part is our only person in this organization is the SPO. So even if we have any department members in the chamber here, we don't have the right to talk to them. We don't have the right to talk to them. We don't have to get involved with them. All our business have to be directed to the mayor. Then the mayor could direct it to the SAO. And I would like to see that, because I noticed on previous meetings, we have just a lot of side chat. Thank you.
We're used to that kind of little
Yeah.
voice. But that's good to know. That's good to know. I think we're lacking orientation with that proper decorum.
The discussion last week was somewhat controversial and centered around two committees, the HR committee and the finance committee. Is a pathway through this early on to say, would the council be willing to make those committees, those two committees of the whole, of everyone? So that when a meeting is called of one of those committees, it will go to everyone. Everyone can come to that, hear what's being discussed, and, ultimately, you folks as a group will be bringing something back to be decided upon. And maybe as time goes on, maybe there's a sense that those two committees can compress a bit, but I'm just wondering if that's something that would work for you all.
I'm good with that. I'll sit on all the committees. I have no problem sitting on all of the committees and trying to make a difference on all of, with all of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what I know about public works. I will, figure it out and sit on the committees and try to make the best decisions and.
Public Works was not a popular choice amongst
And you
the white
Yeah.
five.
But it's a big part of our
Exactly.
Our-
Yeah.
village, yeah, it is.
Can you give us a definition of each of these committees, what it is all about?
Your HR committee will discuss primarily HR matters.
Hiring,
Finance administration will primarily discuss contracts and how we tender, and what's in a tender, and how you want to have to proceed. Recreation, mostly about programming decisions, discussions with staff there, but, I like this, I don't like that, can we do this? And the community plan committee is probably gonna be one of your more important committees this year, to be active and to be working with other groups, because, you know, the ultimate goal is to get that, plan and bylaw hammered out, so. But again, we'll get the terms of reference to you, so you get a better sense.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you mentioned, thank you. To be practical, is there any way that we could agree on the committees right now and you write the names, who is gonna be in what committee? So when we come to the next regular meeting, we just vote on these committees and I would like to ask the contract committee, is it part of the contract, is it part of the finance?
Yeah.
The admin finance,
Yeah, that's
right?
what he
Okay.
said.
Yeah.
So,
So, if I may, your worship?
Yep.
The other three committees, it seemed that the folks that chose to be on them, there wasn't any contention there. So if we just went on that assumption for those three, the other two committees became full committee of the whole memberships. And so I can tell you that before Christmas, we will have both the HR and Finance Committee meeting to discuss some important things that we need to move forward on for next year. Yeah, and those committee meetings normally are lunch meetings. And usually we try and get you in and out in the lunch hour, but sometimes maybe it will go over. You know, if that works for now, good. If it becomes cumbersome, then we can certainly change that, so. If that is with what you feel comfortable with, next Monday night, we'll bring a resolution to adopt committees that resemble that structure that we're talking about, so.
With the DOR,
Pardon?
the DOR, the terms of reference.
Yeah, I'll have that to you as well.
I don't care if I'm on either HR or finance. I chose those ones because I have expertise in both areas, but I also have programming. And I really wanted to sit on recreation. So that's because I'm gonna blow the horn for seniors, but there needs to be that. And that would mean then you couldn't come forward with that if I chose to say, I'll pull off this and go to this.
We'll make it work.
I just think that we need to broaden our experiences, just even if we have expertise here, we can learn other things too. And my background's community development too, so.
Yeah,
So, there you go.
my list is public.
George?
No, I know what, we are approaching 7, folks, so. bear with me.
So as far as I know, there's no legislation that allows any one person to make decisions on this sort of thing and just decide who's going to be, well, nobody can just make decisions on their own for anything. So I was wondering how we got to these in the first place, but I'd also like to see the papers where we chose 1 to 5, so that I can see what everybody picked. Because I'd be interested to see that. And based on what you thought we would each be good at, why I didn't get either of my first choices.
Like I said, I didn't look at the numbers themselves, right?
Okay,
I never did see those papers.
but if you based on what you think you'd be good at, I don't know why we first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And I'm not sure what specifically, but we would not make me a good candidate for the 2 we chose. The counselor that was already on for 2 terms. But that's why I'd like to see the papers.
That can be provided.
So I can-
Maybe you can tabulate it.
Moss?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe, thank you, Troy. You missed the first part of the discussion. Yeah, honestly, as I mentioned this before, it's always good faith. The mayor mentioned that when he saw where he just added the names on the committees, the way he looked at it, I still, like, it was a good fit. So I believe that was how it happened, that what happened. But, the SAO mentioned that there will be these two committees, the finance and the HR. Those two committees, everyone will be part of them. So I think that's a good idea. I'm not, most of us might not even be in town when there is a committee meeting, but at the end of the day, we all support each other. So I think we should just move on that matter.
I'd still like it.
Okay, okay, sorry. Thank you.
You don't have to be sorry.
Hmm?
Don't be sorry.
Trust free.
And I think like, I wasn't like trying to, yeah, like, I think I brought this up, not so much about committees, but about process. So being new on the council and the way it was selected and and how it was dealt with, for me. And not only that, I was thinking about just the processes in general maybe. And I know it's things that you guys have been doing for years on council and, but like even, I'm gonna even say like the selection of signage, the selection of deputy mayor, like there's no conversation. And so for me, and I mean, I'm glad that, that's great, but what if someone else wanted to be deputy mayor? Or I think about signage, I'm in this building, that's convenient, right? Like, so I'm just thinking about processes. When I brought up this committee, I'm thinking about process.
Showing you. It's showing you.
I have to answer this one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, I agree with you in part of it, definitely, but as I mentioned that we always follow the regulations. About the signing authority, that it happened that people agreed on who is gonna be the signing authority. I know it's more convenient, we might miss that it's still on a good faith. For the deputy mayors, that is up to the mayor, in fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mayor chooses and the council approve.
Right.
So you could, still it's democratic, even if four of us say no and four abstain, and still the mayor.
Decides.
Yeah, the mayor decide, or the mayor could have the final say. We could all vote no for the mayor choice, and then it never happened before, but as I told you, everything here should be on good faith.
Yeah.
So we have to agree on that, and we have also to think of what's better for the community, honestly. I agree with you, you are here, very good, like, for me, I don't have any problem to add you on the signing authority right now. I don't have any problem, honestly, because you are around, so I don't have any problem, and we don't have a limit for the signing authority, I don't think we have a limit. So you can be added, the deputy mayor will be added. Thank you.
Yeah, the auditor.
Can you hear me, Robert? We'll continue this later.
We don't, we don't need for you to see us, but we can see you, so. Anyway, thank you for joining in with us tonight. I know the financial statements are now ready and pulled a couple of pages out of the report. The concern that I've heard is the deficit reporting at the end of 2023 of 1.139 million. And, basically, if you want to just speak to that in general terms, and then if there's any questions from any of our counselors, if you can hear them, I will pass on their question through the mic here, okay? Okay. No, it isn't.
Robert? We don't have page 12.
Robert?
Yeah, excuse me, may I know that you're trying to explain page 11 and the succeeding pages. We only have page 10 and 11 and the consolidated statement schedule 3. Because we don't have the notes to financial statement that was provided to us. You don't really even have to explain if we have the notes to financial statement because it's self-explanatory if we had that. So anyways, we don't have the page 12, that's why I think you're gonna have to do a presentation based on page 10 and 11 and consolidated statement schedule 3.
Can I interject? Um, We tentatively settled last week on a 3-year deal, so um, you'll be seeing those impacts future years. So,
I do. This is Renalyn. Your cash and cash equivalents is 0. Does that mean that they don't even have money in the bank? Yeah, the other thing, if I may, I know that the bad debts was high. The explanation was that because they were not able to prepare the billing on time. And that's why it was sitting there as bad debts. What's your aging considered to be bad debts? Is it over 1 year or 6 months over?
Um,
Okay. So you're estimating that your bad debts as well. But if they can collect those bad debts, that's gonna reduce this new year, correct?
Any further questions?
It'd be helpful if we saw the notes, because, yeah, we're missing information here.
I don't know, is there a reason why we didn't get the full audited FS? Because normally when you have that, it's best to have the whole thing, so you can just make reference to some of it.
Only because the main part of the discussion tonight was going to be talking about the income statement
Yeah,
and how it was, and that was what we talked to the auditor about, it being the main part of his discussion. Certainly, if you get the statements and read them and there's more questions that you may have, I'm sure Robert would certainly sit in for another team's discussion.
Yeah.
But at this particular one, it was, the information I had was that it was just to see the deficit and what drove it.
Yeah, because on the notes to financial statement, it will give you a little bit of history
Mhm.
on a lot of things. The deficit is quite big, 1.1 million compared to last year, which is about $196,000.
Mhm.
Even though if you deduct that $360,000 bad debts, it's still big.
Still big, yeah, absolutely.
What's the recovery on that one? Is there such a plan for recovery?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Because we have a large accumulated surplus that has accrued through the years, we're not required to do any catch-up. And if you look at the Schedule 3, that was expanded a little bit to go back to 2018. And if you look down to 2021, 2019, and 18, you'll see that in each of those years, there were healthy surpluses. And so,
So
give you some
your-
context.
So your accumulated surplus is $33.9 million. So that means you're still rich?
It's 28,172,000.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's the budget, yeah, so $28 million.
So-
Okay.
There've been years, like if you look at some of those years, there's one year in particular, there was a massive surplus.
Yeah.
And much of the reason there was deficits this year, that year had a particularly big surplus. So, looking overall, yes, it's concerning and there's reasons that it happened. And I think that you will see some improvements in some of the challenges that we had in 2023 with staffing and collecting and just a lot of chaotic time. So, when we get into our budget deliberations, I'm hoping that we'll talk about a more positive 2024. So anyway,
Yeah, I do have another question. You just mentioned staffing, right? Because we were lacking some staffing. But how come we increased our expenditure on salaries and benefits by a little over 200,000 this year compared to last year? Because last year it's 3.178 mil, and this year, in 2023, it's 3.4 mil. So there's about a little over 200,000 increase on salaries.
there would have been the increases from the collective agreements that year was pertaining to. I'd have to look more detail
Yeah.
to see what drove it.
Because the collective agreement that expired in
End of
2023,
2023.
is that a payout for the last 3 years, or that's just 1 year, but 1 year increase on salary?
But that'll be in this year.
No, that in 2023. Because 2022, it's $3.178 million, and then in 2023, it's $3.4 million salaries and benefits. I'm just wondering, because you said that we have problem of staffing, so I thought.
Well, I
there
think
would be some
we
savings
are
there.
recognizing
Yeah.
that we need to be more lean and mean with our staffing
Yeah.
going forward, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I know when you do variance analysis, right? What's his name? Auditor,
Robert,
Robert. Robert, when you do variance analysis, they explain all that reasons why there's a up and down, right?
Councilor Tetzo.
We did have some payouts too for severance, with our SAO last year, 2023, right?
I would have to check on that.
Kevin left, that's a cost.
Yeah.
Contracting staff, there's a whole bunch of reasons, I think, last year, but there was an over expenditure in some of our costs. But it should be explained through variance as, 5% over, or anything over that should be looked at.
Well, we'll be able to talk about that a little more when we get into our 25 budget deliberations and
Yeah.
where we're going and
So,
what the forecast for 24 is, so
so we're gonna get tomorrow the full package?
we will.
And the management letter?
You will get it all.
So we will be going to look at the collection process and what we can do to improve that, if it's in the management letter, and it has been.
Yeah,
we'll be
I
looking
think
at
some of
that.
the management letter matters have been addressed, and we'll speak to them as we go through the discussion. Adrian can certainly speak to the amount, a lot of work has been done in the last year to put things in place that allow those collections to happen more.
It's ongoing.
Ongoing, exactly.
Well, thank you, Robert. Putting on notice.
Okay. Okay. I will leave the meeting and I'll give you a shout here in a minute, okay?
Thank you.
Can you give me a minute?
Sure can.
Just be quick as I can be.
So we've been in that meeting.
When we had our orientation, when the guy from MACA did explain how to read the financial statement, I mean, like, what I would like to know is, what's the general government? What is that term? What consists of that general government? What's protective services? I know that's fire and the fire department, or I don't know what it is.
Environmental.
Yeah, and then the economic development division,
Ambulance.
that's the DIC. Utilities, water, sewer, well, that's pretty much self-explanatory. Recreation, is that the swimming pool and the rec center or something like that? So at least something like a little,
Breakdown.
breakdown of what it is. So when we say general government, is that the administration? I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty general.
Yeah.
Everything could go into
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's a dumping site
Yeah.
or
I
anything
don't
that
think so.
doesn't.
I think it's probably salary and wages for the regional
Yeah,
office.
yeah,
Plus some services that come out of this office, plus all the management positions that come out of here, the operating expenses, training, travel, you name it, probably.
although he didn't say what is the restricted cash, I don't know what is the restricted cash.
Oh, you mean, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know when,
It should
like,
be in the, it should be in the management.
Yeah.
In the.
it's in the notes, yeah, that's why I don't have,
Go on your page 2. for the-
we don't have a
We don't have
page
We
two.
didn't need a page 2.
We only have page 10, 11, and schedule 3.
Okay, on the next page for general government. It has breakdown, taxes, property taxes,
Oh,
school taxes.
that would be
everything.
nice, that's why I asked.
I went and printed this from my email, so
Yeah.
that's why.
Because that's what happened, is that if you don't give us the whole thing, you ask more
Or this
questions.
would have went out in the email, that's the council email.
They never, didn't,
There's
They
two,
gave us
there's
this
two
breakdown.
attachments, on the one was the cow and the second one was.
no, they gave us this
When
2025
did we get that term was?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they gave us, not the 2020.
I got it, I think it was in the-
Yes, I printed the whole package, it's all
We already got this.
2025. Yeah, they didn't give us that.
The,
I'm the one who prints everything. Yeah, because I don't like reading on.
This one?
No, but this one is, yeah, this is all 2025 for next year.
Yeah, but that's the only.
Email from Friday. They did this.
I think we got.
Yeah,
it.
So I thought we were the same for 4 this year.
Well, that's not even complete, no, that's not.
Yeah,
even
no,
complete.
he's gonna sign the full one.
Yeah, the full one with the, yeah.
I was trying to read what some of these things, some cases.
Yes, you cannot make an assumption, but even me, I don't understand.
Yeah, we got that in the email.
Yeah.
It's all like.
They're important numbers, though.
So if it's signed by the mayor before, that means it's accepted, your financial statement has been accepted?
Yeah.
Okay,
Previous council accepted it.
yeah, because when we had our orientation, Darrell said that it hasn't been accepted yet, or passed a motion to accept it.
No, all we did was accept it.
Yeah, because I asked for a copies last time, and they said, oh, we haven't had accepted yet, and,
You just said we did accept it.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we did on our last meeting before?
Oh, that was the capital plan. That's a different thing. This is your audit. Not really audit. I'm trying to find what was that for?
I was sure we set that on.
Yeah, because I asked him for, oh, it's not final yet, that's what he said when we had the orientation. And that's why I wanted, because he gave us only the 2020.
Darrell, is the audit approved? Did we accept the audit in draft?
Yeah, back in October 23rd.
That's what I said. We have it.
Yeah,
He's trying to find out after you, when you sent it out to us. Yeah.
So, we ready to move forward?
Oh, we're going into a new meeting.
Well, we have,
For the draft 25 operating.
so you had the draft 25 budget estimates circulated. We discussed starting tonight and see where we want to go. You folks have a PDF that has a total operating budget of $6,814,365. Today I've added 83,200 to that to recognize both the revenue and expenditure related to all of the water utility charges related to municipal buildings. So it's an in and out thing, but in order to compare an apple to an apple, I added it in, so. So anyway, that budget total will now be $6,897,565.
sorry, 6,8.
$6,897,565. And our budget last year was $6,722,835. So we see an increase of $174,000 over last year's budget. That's a 2.6% increase.
Does that capture the tentative collective agreement
Yes.
expenditure?
If we go to, there's a little tab, or it was the back page, there were assumptions that we made in this budget, both the revenue and expenditures, and the expenditure budget does factor in all, basically the 4% of this year and the 2% for next year. So that is in your 25 numbers. There's also a number of increases to different revenues through mill rates and the water rates and garbage rates. And they're impacting the revenue numbers. So what I'd like to do is run through each of the departments to give you a sense of what our different revenue streams are and our expenditures within each of those departments. When we get towards the end, or we get to the end, certainly any questions, fire away. Okay? If you
So
go-
we're starting on what page?
let me see.
What page?
I'm gonna go back to PDF, just so you're there.
I want to be.
So we're going to page 2.
Okay.
General government. You see an increase in land taxes. Again, that's due to the factored in increases to mill rates, and that impacts all the different levels of grants in lieu, payment in lieu of taxes by the feds, and everything that is part of municipal property taxation. Some smaller items, you see 133,300 in revenue is money we're bringing over from our CPI allocation, which is a 10% MACA permission. So we did that last year. It was the first year we could do it. Our increase in our operational funding is based on last year's number. We're going to be meeting with folks from MACA next week on funding formulas. Maybe we'll get good news that may increase, but who knows? I don't want to jinx it. Anyway, expenditures in general government. We have wages, salaries, school tax payment. You'll notice that we are allocating a significant amount over to the water and wastewater and landfill department. And I'll get to the reasoning why we're doing that when we get there. First part of this expenditure budget is all salary and benefit driven. We have some,
It's a minus 367.
yeah, it's reducing that budget by that. It's gonna show up in the water budget, so. Okay,
Why? Why are you reducing?
I will, when we get to water,
Yeah.
I'll get to that. Pretty much self-explanatory. Our insurance cost and our base and operating office lease here. The lease it's not a new cost, but it does impact on our overall operations. The others are fairly self-explanatory, so I won't run into them. On page 3, we have our estimates for our mayor and council costs. So one of the questions, see the 15,000 that we have for donations, grants, I guess, donations to organizations. Last year, that $10,000 included a $5,000 grant to the Northern Arts Council, who come in, and also the support that council provides for the graduating high school students. So we've always budgeted 20, just in case there was something more that wanted to be done. Certainly to move that to 20, won't impact anything, but let's just leave it at 15 for now. Next, we go to our protective services budgets on page 4. Basically, the significant revenue item in this department is ambulance charges. And as we move forward into the new year, we will have a proposal coming forward from the fire department that will potentially impact our fees and potentially may impact an increase to expenditures within the fire department. But we're not there yet, and it will be brought to committee and discussed. So when we have that meeting, the fire chief will be there. So the first expenditure within protective services is bylaw. We have matters to discuss regarding contracted services within bylaw, as well as our support towards a vet clinic again in 2025, and/or, how you want to proceed there. The other thing is our commitment to complete our community plan in 2025, and that is taking into the fact the work's still to be done by FOTAC. Okay, page 5 is fire department. Mostly salary benefit driven. I will note the wage allowance of 26.4 is basically a payment that we make over the year to the association to help support in their activities within the fire department. And everything else is there okay? We'll go to page 6, Public Works. As you see, Public Works is not a revenue generator. And you look in the expenditures, again, you'll see a significant allocation out of Public Works that will go to water sewer. Anything else? This is pretty much a non-discretionary budget in terms of it's made up of wages, repairs and maintenance, utilities, and some other things, so. Okay. Under another section is road materials and street lighting. So the total expenditure budget in Public Works, a little over $1 million. Now we go to the tourism, which is this is the VIC, and the cost to maintain that building. I've moved all of the utility costs. We used to split it between admin and the VIC. We're just putting it all there now. And we have the wages of folks we hire through the year. We do get a $40,000 funding from ITI to help offset those costs. Okay, water and wastewater. Again, you will see increases to the major revenue items being residential and commercial water charges, truck water, as well as garbage collection, both residential and commercial. And you see the block funding of 1.3 million for that. So a total revenue estimate of 2.219. And so you will see the wages, and you will see those negatives that we were dealing with in some of the other departments are now showing they're coming into the water department. And we'll just run down through some of these bigger costs. Power. Power is for both the water treatment plant and the wastewater plant, as well as heating fuel. We're hoping that, we're budgeting conservatively, but we're hoping that with the new pellet boiler on the line at the water treatment plant, that we can see a savings there. We don't know how significant it will be, but we're optimistic. And And down below, we have our pump out rebate program factored in. We have our water truck contract and our garbage collection contract. And so what we've done is we have traditionally had high surpluses in the water wastewater department. We are being encouraged to not show such high surpluses in that department so as not to impact our funding. And we can speak more to that when they're here next week. So it's just a basic reallocation within the total budget to create just a token small deficit there of 3,000. And so here we have finally recreation, including the pool and fitness center. Revenues, pretty self-explanatory, and wages, benefits, material supply costs, utilities. The arena and pool are big utilities, and I'll talk about that later. And there's that. And finally, the library. We received a grant from the CE for the library of $50,000 to offset the costs to provide library services in the community. So in terms of our assumptions, we see them here. We've got a straight 5% increase to mill rates, and you see where they would go to with that increase. Residential water rates, again, we proposed increases with the percentages, and garbage rates as well. The comparison of residential properties and the impact with what is present today and with the proposed increases. And it goes from about 170 at the 100,000 assessment to almost 300 for a $250,000 assessment. So all the collective bargaining increases that were negotiated are factored into those numbers, as well as we have factored in a increase to our 3 non-union employees, being the operations manager, finance manager, and fire chief. And under the same conditions, I guess. So that's the, I guess, high-level introduction or presentation. And any questions you may have, we will discuss any changes you wish made. My hope is that early in December we can get it adopted and set to go. But I understand that any increases to property taxes and water rates are not always popular. But we've heard and seen the deficits that have been creeping over the last number of years, and the position to just stay tight on those rates is coming to a point where we can't continue to do that. And so here we are starting so there we are. So I'm open for questions.
So, with the proposed increases under the collective agreement,
Yes.
although the non-unionized individuals are not part of it, they still get the increase same rate, correct?
No,
So you still have to determine how much
If
would
you
be?
approve the budget with those assumptions, then you could move forward with that, but we haven't just taken that as carte blanche to do that.
Okay, yeah. Although they're not unionized, others was wondering, they still get the same increase that we are proposing for the next,
If we approve it.
yeah, if we approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The one that I asked, the 377,000, that 367,000, you deducted on general revenue or general government.
Yes.
You increased the water and sewer,
By 600, I believe.
yeah, it was increased to 615,330. So if the salaries is just reallocated to that,
An allocation strictly of salaries.
it's
So there's-
just a reallocation.
Yep, that's all.
Okay, in the past it wasn't like that.
We did some, but not to those levels.
Oh, okay.
We wanted to change how water and sewer were going to report going forward. So
Okay,
Mac may not be happy with what we're doing, but
They can let us know.
yes.
yeah, because you said it's wages allocated to water and rec, but your wages and salaries is 274, and your admin and PW allocation is 615. So is
Um,
that wages, the
So I
615?
just take you to, bear with me 1 second. On page,
Page 10,
I'm gonna go to page 2 first. That's the general admin.
Yeah.
Negative coming out of 367.9. And if we jump ahead to page, no, not there yet. Page 6. You see another 209 coming out.
okay, yeah. You reduce that again.
And I'm hoping that those two add to 615.
Where is the 615? Can't find it.
That's on page 10.
I'm on page
209,052.
Oh, there it is, yeah. In the PW allocation.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. There.
I hope the math is right.
It's 577,029. Those 209 plus 367.
Go to page 7. You see a wage allocation.
I'm not page 7. I even have page 7, 8.
Pool and fitness center?
Oh, you don't have page 7.
You
Or
don't?
8, no.
No.
We have pages, it goes
5,
from
6,
6 and 5, 6 to 9.
9. Yeah, we don't have 7 and 8.
And then the pool,
Do you have the pool?
and they're at the bottom here. Oh, there it is, 7. They're out of order.
Oh, oh,
They're out of order.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you go from page 10 to page
7
7?
and 8. Yeah, okay.
I
got
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay.
So if you look at page 7, you see 38,000. That should be negative,
Oh,
Okay,
and that will,
that way.
I think that'll bring you up to the 615.
38, yes, 301.
614
Yeah.
something, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
In terms of the overall
Yeah.
expenditure budget, um, part of the collective agreement is driving it. And I guess the biggest decision for council is how you all feel about the increase in mill rates and water rates and garbage rates. And as whatever the final decision that you do make, you need to stand by that as a group and, be willing and able to deal with what may be criticism. Councillor Hassan.
Honestly, I've seen, honestly, I just noticed, the NTPC, they raised their power rates. So it's really gonna be really difficult for the community members to, yes, we add just collecting money from them. They're already, the economy of the NWPA is very low and it's not good. So I don't know what I think. We have to think deeply about the best for our community. And we know that you mentioned that Mark is going to talk about the funding formula, and we know that it's the territorial government job to support these communities, and we are underfunded always since ever. This region really underfunded, so I think we need to think deeply about that before we just add more.
Listen listen to what they have to say, but certainly ask them some pointed questions to see if they can give you any indication of the direction they're taking, such that maybe their fundings for operations are going up. They've given quite a bit last year over the year before, so about 175,000 in money. So,
When was the last increase in any of these rates?
before 2016, in around that.
I think it was raised in 2022.
The water rate went up
The
in
mill rate.
2017. Those were changed. I understand the mill rates went down significantly in a particular year, only because the assessments were adjusted much higher. So they tried to balance the equation. But again, that's before my time, and the mill rates where they are now have been there since. The only thing that has changed from year to year is the school rate. But that's not under our control.
Is there any way we raise it for the government and we just leave it for the community, the government, because we have the institutions like schools and government properties, they have different mill rate. Is there any possibility that we could raise that and leave the community one as it is? Is there any chance of that? Because as I told you just a few minutes ago, we are the highest rate of power probably in the world. Because right now everyone pays like 42.8 cents a kilowatt. That's too much. While in Quebec, for example, it's 7 cents per kilowatt.
Commercially, on our commercial buildings, we pay almost
Yeah,
$1
that's like really too much, honestly.
Big
It's
number.
just too much for people.
with high Nova Scotia.
So I think we should think really about the best for the community before we just jump and do that. Thank you.
If you're gonna make comparison, maybe we can compare it with, at least at par with, our province or community. I mean, like Quebec, they they supply power even to their neighboring provinces. And like us, we don't. So that's why they're cheap. I mean, like for 2 months, you can pay $50 on electricity, honestly. I pay my bills of my kids. So, yeah, so that's why I was wondering, because our power is generated by the power corporation and the NTPC.
I think now I'm gonna ask Eleanor not to comment on this issue, because you
Yeah.
work for Petroleum Division, you just keep it, I will keep you this issue, because I know that that's your job and you know how much.
Oh, I'm not involved, I'm not an employee, I'm not an employee of NTPC, but I'm also a payer of a usage payer. So that's why I was wondering with that one, but if we're gonna make comparison, yeah, maybe we can compare with Nunavut or Yukon, like the territorial, and plus we're in the north. But I'm not saying, I'm not justifying why we're so high. I think we should, because, we have to. You don't even have to mention that.
No,
I
because
know.
your department, I'm sorry, but your department sell fuel to NTPC, that's the only reason why I
Okay.
mentioned that.
You know too much that I'm not,
Yeah, it's everybody should know.
I know that, but this is the thing, I'm just commenting. Yeah, it has nothing to do with it, I'm just commenting on, the comparison of that.
Yeah, sorry, can I speak, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm just very careful the economy is really bad. And the community, we cannot just put burden on the community every time I just mentioned, I'm really sorry, but I mentioned NTPC as an example. Every service rate is very high in here. If you go, even groceries are very high, water is gonna be high. I don't know, this way, I don't know, but the way it is going right now, if we are raising the rates, we're gonna just tell people, oh, just get the hell out of this community. Honestly, I'm really sorry to say that, but that's why I mentioned that, because I feel what is in the community, honestly, and I feel how we suffer with the very bad economy in the NWT. And that's my 2 cents. That doesn't mean that we cannot raise it, by the way. We could raise it for the institutions. I think we could do that as a council. We could raise it to the government, you pay for the school, for the school, the DPW, whatever government infrastructure, they could pay more. But we don't have to put all the burden on the community members here. That's what I mean. Thank you.
It's really important to realize, though, that when you put the burden on government to pay increased tax, then the government looks from within to find ways to cover that. And that means less money to programs and services over time. So I think we have to look at this and look at, can we look at our overall budget and see what we can do within it to mitigate the increases? And then look at also a less aggressive approach to the increases. Because I think we do have to, you can't leave it forever. There's going to be a government department that's going to say, well, you're never raising anything and you keep coming for more money. And we do have a significant accumulated surplus too. So I think we have to look at within our budget where we can slim things, and then look at a less aggressive approach to increases if we can. We also gave away a lot of money last year. We did.
Did we?
We did.
In what way?
In what way? With the sewer pump out rebate and things like that becomes, but it does.
But the sewer pump out rate is something that we should be doing ourselves. We should have a contract to collect sewer because we sell water. We're the only community in the
Well, that's a different
territory.
discussion. I'm just talking about us giving money away to a certain sector that doesn't all.
But giving that money away saves us money.
It does, but
Right?
those are the kinds of
It would
things.
cost us like $200,000 to contract out a sewer pump.
But anyway, it's just an example of, you give and you take, and you've given quite a bit in the last couple of years. The bigger issue around utility costs, the potential power increase, but that hasn't gone forward yet, that's been discussed. It likely will have some implication, but, Nunavut was nearly, 11% less than ours? And our partners to the west, Yukon, were even lower. So we do have to tell our government, like, what the heck? We need that reviewed, like, why are we sitting in this position when we have a larger population? We do have roads primarily for transportation, and we do have, like, Fort Smith and Hay River area, they have a cheaper power grid because of, the water. We need to push the government, I think, too.
I agree.
There has to be more about this, because I have a fairly good pension, my husband, but if everything keeps going up, there's no reason for us to stay here anymore, although we love our kids. The cost of living here for an older couple is very high. So, yeah. I don't care whether you want to see me go or not, but the fact of the matter is, we need to hold our government accountable for the fact that we're at 45%. That's what we pay for power in the Northwest area, even if it's subsidized, we're still paying. And they're not paying that in Nunavut, they're at 34.6%, I think, and Yukon's 28%. And we're sitting here, and we have a water source to maybe do something with. We have been aggressive in this community with solar power and pellet usage, and I think we need to be more so, and that's the kind of thing I'd like to see. But I think we have to go back to what can we shave a little bit off this budget, what can we not keep, and then what can we do in a slow aggression to increase some of our rates so that they are, and maybe even looking at other communities and what their rates are like. I don't know. They're way higher.
Yeah, I don't know what the element has done over the years in terms of.
They're way high.
Those are,
They pay more.
yeah.
Moss?
Thank you so much. I really agree with you. And honestly, I mentioned this before, but I'm gonna mention it right now. 2014, the gap of the funding in the NWTA was $30 million, $40 million. So that's 2014. Up to 2024, that's almost $500 million funding gap for the small communities and the community in the NWT. So the government, the territorial government, even they don't have the decency to go and look for more money from the feds. So there is always an excuse that, because we are a territory, we are not a province, so we cannot borrow money. I hear that so much. We have to fight hard for this region. So I really agree with Councillor Tetsu that we just have to push hard. But I don't agree with raising even a little bit on the community. I don't know, but I think we should just. And last year, and I mentioned that this year, the Legislative Assembly, they looked into that and they started covering the gap, the funding gap for the community in the NWT. And definitely gonna get like 200 up to, I think, $800, $800,000 in Fort Simpson. We might get that. I don't know how much we get, but we need to fight the territorial government for raising funding. Yeah.
So the proposed mill rate increase is 5%, right?
Correct.
That across the board, but when it comes to water rates and garbage rates, it will differ by 12.5, 5.9, 50, 32%, right?
Yeah,
So,
and we looked at just
yeah,
an absolute number increase, like 50 cents
Yeah.
on the residential, and moving from 11.33 to 12 on commercial. Same with garbage, they were, you know, absolute numbers that we increased, and, you know, the percentages fell out of those.
Is it because the contract for garbage is getting more expensive, that's why we're raising it to record? so that
No,
we
I
can
think it's
cover
just the recognition that nothing's been changed for a
Oh,
number of
okay.
years, and that it's a place to start,
Mhm,
that's all.
okay. I mean, like the water rates is 50 cents higher than on the garbage rate is $20 more. The water, when you say water, that includes sewer too? Or the sewage is always like, the baseline is always $25, right?
So the wastewater treatment costs
Mhm,
are part of the overall departmental budget, and we don't have a separate sewer charge.
mhm.
We charge a water rate that historically has been meant to cover those, both of those cost centers. And, you know, we haven't really done much in terms of, I mean, we treat the wastewater, we deal with it, that goes to the plant. We never did any, we didn't do anything regarding the needs up on the hill until we got into the rebate, the pump out program, so that gives some relief to that. So these are costs, they've always been absorbed by the water rate.
Mhm.
And the water rate's based on consumption down here. Well, it's based on consumption up top too, but, you know,
Yeah, the reason why I asked, because for, if you're not, you don't live in the island, right? If you live off the island from outside the SNI, then if there's a pump out. Whenever you deliver water, you have to be pumped out. So those are two contracts that you have to
right,
maintain, the pump, the
But those-
sewage and the
those
water.
folks are rebated.
They get run back. That's what I'm
So
saying.
there's no cost to them up to $2,000 each year.
The council agreed to that.
Mhm.
So, you know, that was a program offered by the council to, you know, help those folks out who were paying. But again, the water rate that was, the water rate that's there now is servicing those costs. And if we're adding more cost in, we're, you know,
We're gonna have less.
proposing additional water rates that can offset these additional costs. And I mean, the way our rates are structured, I know it's, you know, it's going to impact individuals in different ways. You know, we can certainly tweak things. We can, but I would like to know where you want to get to. I know some would not like any increases, but I don't think that is realistic. But maybe we'll come back with some scenarios of different options, some different layouts of increases, and we'll, at the same time, see what we can do in terms of hard cuts out of the budgets. But if we do that, it's going to impact services. And it's able to deliver all that, so it's a trade-off. If you want to keep things as they are, then you can't continue to deliver the services. You know, we have, you know, we have some sense that there may be some attrition in this coming year,
I think so too.
and that will not be backfilled. So, you know, there are some positives, but we just don't know the timing of them. So we'll work with what we know, and but we'll work on some things to see if we can get it down. What we'll bring back is different layouts of how we can look at.
Yeah.
But we are not going to keep the status quo. Okay? And I know maybe some of you or all of you, but ultimately it's council's decision at the end of the day, where you want to go.
So do we have to raise rates because we spent too much in the last couple of years?
We don't have enough revenue. That's why.
We have had costs increase in our budgets over the last 7-8 years without any corresponding increase in revenue. So it's catching up.
Yeah.
And so that's, that's a main driver here. And, some of the offset has been increases to funding from GWT. So we've had to absorb that, but,
And we find out what we get from the GNWT next week.
well, you may not get a definitive answer, but you know what you got last year. And, if they're able to make commitments beyond, what was provided last year, I'd love for them to say that Councillor Hassan's projected number, I'd love to hear them say, yeah, we have an additional $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for you. That makes this process much easier, but we don't know that. And we may not know that before the year. So. Councillor Hassan.
Sorry, thank you. At the end of the day, I will just agree with the council on what we come up with, but, we always, we are a stagnant community, and we always just start patching things. It doesn't work that way. You guys mentioned earlier, all of us mentioned the community plan. I want us to think strategically and think ahead what's going to happen in the future. We have to work on that, because I know if the health center costs 50 million, that's $1.5 million of revenue property tax to the village. So we need to move on these kind of activities. We need to move on these kind of projects to, also we have to move into attracting infrastructure, like businesses, building more buildings in the community here, more apartment buildings. Right now we have problems with housing, we have problems, we're really stagnant community. So that's not gonna happen unless we all move ahead on the community plan, and that's all of you guys' responsibility to move ahead on that part. But still, I'm gonna fight the raise of the community members at the end of the day. You guys can just vote against me. Thank you.
Are we voting today?
No. So there's a consensus that we tweak, come back, have more discussion, and
So in what way are you tweaking the numbers? In what sense?
I don't know yet.
Because I think you have to declare conflict here, Moaz, because you are a businesswoman, business person. It mentioned about the commercial here too, on the water rates and garbage rates, although we're talking about.
That's when I don't have to
residential.
declare conflict, because I'm fighting for that. That's when exactly when I don't declare conflict. Is that how it is? I can exactly use the same logic that anyone who live in a rental property should not even vote on it, because they don't know what property tax means. That doesn't work that way. That means if I'm not sick, if I'm sick or not sick, I should not be in a health board. Oh, you can't be in a health board unless you are sick, so you can't qualify, or you are not sick, you qualify. No, that doesn't work that way. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about the whole community.
I know, but most of here, if you are a renter, doesn't mean to say you have to sit on the council.
You are a renter, you don't even know who pay your property tax.
My
So how
landlord.
are you gonna raise it to 20%?
my landlord, and basically, when you pay your rent to your landlord, it includes the property tax that they pay, and as well as the insurance.
No, I'm gonna fight,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
fight,
what
that
it
I'm not
is.
in any conflict, and.
For example, I pay, say, I'll throw a number, 1.15. Okay, to justify that, they say, oh, that includes the property tax, that includes the insurance, that includes everything, so that's what you pay. And the same way that's the reason why they charge high as well in Yellowknife, because they include all those overhead costs. Go ahead.
Just, for some reason, I can't think of the word, it's like community of interest or whatever, like if it's something to do with everybody, then like if I have a hair salon, I'm like, we should give discounts to a hair salon, and we're discussing that, then I would have to declare conflict, because it's like, there's one or two people. But if it's something that applies generally to the whole community, then, it wouldn't be, yeah.
Yeah, because the impact here is the 33%, 50% on that's the big one that they have.
Yeah, more if we were saying specifically businesses, and then as business owners, anybody that's a business owner said, yeah, well, we shouldn't do that. That would be different, but if it's just kind of in general, then I don't think it's really a problem.
It's my last time when I talk. I noticed that we all compare ourselves to Yellowknife, we compare ourselves to other communities. I think that's not even, we don't have even the right to compare for Simpson to Yellowknife. Yellowknife, I'm gonna give you guys an example. Yellowknife, when they started building Stanton Hospital, the smart people, they forgot $140 million property tax to the city of Yellowknife. So where are they gonna get that money from? They said, oh yeah, that money is gonna be, we will find it. They found the money to cover the property tax for Stanton Hospital. And the previous council, I remember the people mentioned that even the first payment for Stanton Hospital, I don't know, Councilor Tetsu might correct me, the first installment for that hospital came from $30 million, which was allocated for Simpson Health Center. They took it in Yellowknife. Yellowknife is a city with mine-based income, with a lot of income. They could raise the tax and they know how to make money. But we have to know that we are in stagnant community. There is nothing. So we cannot, I'm gonna be fighting for that until the last day I'm sitting on this table. Thank you.
It's,
We'll come back.
we'll come back to that.
We have a regular meeting next Monday. We have a town meeting on the 9th. There's no meeting scheduled for the 16th. But I think probably there will be. Anyway, this will take some time to get through.
So making it done?
Another meeting. We have
We have another meeting.
right now.
Okay, let's adjourn on this and then go to special meeting.
What day is next? Monday?
The second.
Second, so you and I won't be
We
here.
won't be here.
You're excused.
You can call.
Can we call in? I'm,
I
If
could.
you can, if you're interested.
okay.
The rules on that are just so they know, it's like, if you're in town, and you're just like, I don't wanna come in, but I'm gonna call in, you're not supposed to do that. But if you're sick, or if you're,
We're being here.
yeah, if you're out of town on vacation or something, and you wanna participate, that's how we used to.
It's okay.
Okay.
No issue.
Okay.
Is it team? What, is it Zoom or Teams?
We usually call it on your phone and stuff.
It's always been on the phone, but that's not the best way. If you have that ability.
I like Zoom.
Yeah, I
We're
think I
going
use
to,
Zoom
we
too.
don't use Zoom.
Oh.
What about
We
Teams?
use Teams.
Yeah,
No, I don't even
Teams is
know.
free.
yeah, Teams is good because you can share the document.
Anyway.
I'm on Zoom too. We do all kinds of.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Can we adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, let's adjourn.
Adjourn.
Yeah, before we go to the second meeting, I just wanna let you guys know, me and Renee, you always fight. You always fight, so we won't agree.
We're not gonna talk for 2 weeks.
Oh.
Okay, we'll take a smoke break. Or a break.
Yes.
You don't know.
Okay.
Lucky or not sick.
You know, it's, you know,
I'll
it's
check
really-
my-
oh, guys,
I would have punched. I would have
Genuine care though, gentlemen, I know that place comes from a good
So
place.
that one was a cow?
Who ran it? She's a terrorist.
No.
Yes. I agree with you.
Who is terrorist, me or him?
You are, you are.
I've been there.
There, yeah.
Cameras are still
And I
on,
didn't
folks.
like that
Oh, are
email.
Cameras still on, cameras still
I
on.
never responded to my comments. I
Yeah.
didn't like that email.
Which one?
The one you sent.
Oh, the one you sent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he send it?
He didn't retract it or resend another one or explain.
Yeah. I got it in my email.
Because it's so not professional.
I know, I know.
You want this one?
I don't like that.
She,
Or do you
she
want
knows, well, she knows me too. Oh, I know.
I have all my email too, so.
She-
here's your morning.
I'm waiting for my spring rolls. I have to come here to get them.
Oh.
I think next year at the bazaar, you guys get to go in that little room and
Do your own thing.
crowded everybody coming into that place. They couldn't move.
Yeah.
Cheeky things.
I'm gonna corner him later.
What are they teaching you there? Oh, he's playing the bass.
Nice.
I don't know.
So he's playing the bass.
Very nice. That's the guy that, his wife works at the park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's, yeah.
No. How is she doing?
Not a lot of people can play the bass. Without flat, and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
What's going on over there? Oh, the kids?
Something.
So it's adults playing instruments, like that guy with the big,
She did work.
it's all adults.
And then finally we offered her from
This chair.
It's funny because they're using
I
her,
remember
she's
rocket
on the
ship going to
35th
space.
floor,
Oh my
and his son
There's only a basic one.
Oh, did you see
Abigail is an intern too.
Still want me to call?
Occupational intern and such.
Next week.
So he's waiting, this is,
Oh, be a neighbor.
his contract is done by December,
Let's
so he's
see.
waiting. She's working for, she's working
Challenge
for
for
as an intern.
Oh, for that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you told me to
Even though
call
they said,
you.
I
Oh.
have to become like that.
Is that important?
It's different.
Excited?
They're young people, right?
Yes.
And like you guys enjoy it, you don't have to stay in that. I think it's, yeah, I think they should enjoy it. And you have more opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, that- and
Yeah, yeah.
I go and visit them every quarter.
Oh, and you guys take some big trips, eh? You went,
Yeah.
where did you go the last? Did you go, or did you just, no?
Did you go to Costa Rica?
No, the last one, we went to Greece in 2022, in December, January. But this last year, we didn't go anywhere, we just went to, last year we went to PI, that's all. Just,
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yes.
It's a quaint little
Yes.
town,
Yes.
so I love it.
Yes, it's beautiful. There's a chef from there that I follow.
Oh, Michael Smith.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's where he's from?
Yes.
Yes, he's got a, well, he's not from there, he's an American. Actually, he's married to somebody from there. But he cooked, there's a cooking school right in Sheraton Town, in PI. And it's lovely, I've eaten there, and it's just beautiful. And he's around that area.
We used to have a restaurant in Halifax, and after my mom passed away, I got this money, so then I wanted to act like I was rich, and I went to Maple, which was his restaurant. Thought I was so rich, we showed up in a limo, and then we were gonna be going to White Point Beach Lodge for a weekend. So we show up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like some punk kid, you know, I'm acting like I'm so rich, and then they said, oh, excuse me, sir, the limo is here, and I said, well, have them circle the block, you know, we're gonna have desserts, and everyone's looking, who's this guy? But I was just like some punk kid.
I won't be here on
He
December.
he has the best chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
One of the last meeting, because he was You were saying, Daryl, that we're gonna have our last meeting before the holidays, right? On the 16th,
The ninth.
the 9th? That's the last meeting, not on the 16th.
We don't do the third meeting in December, just.
Perfect,
So.
yeah. Because
But
I'm
we might
taking
do-
off on the
No.
14th.
Oh,
Where are
okay.
you going?
I'm gonna go see my girls, and then we're gonna go to Texas
Oh,
for the, yeah,
for the what?
on the 25th to the 31st of December.
You should stay there for New Year's.
Well, because it's,
Flying back on New Year's
it's cheaper. We're looking at the cheap cost,
Oh,
you know? It's like 500 plus return from Montreal to
Texas.
San Antonio, Texas.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. And like Abby said, I wanna go to Mexico. I said, it's expensive. I said, let's just go to Texas. It's close to Mexico. There's lots of Mexicans there. That's what I said. The only difference, there's Mexicans there and then without the beach.
There's beaches in Texas though.
Yeah, it's not in
That's
the.
the water.
You want Mexicans?
Well, you
There's
should
plenty
have
there.
just gone to Tucson and then you could have walked across the
And
border.
he said, oh, then my gun is down there. I said, oh, there's always gun everywhere.
Trump is already ordering that there'll be a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods going across the border once he walked in the store.
Oh.
Now there's a Sicario too.
March 16th, isn't it? Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder to live with.
Everywhere. But it's like that everywhere.
It is like that
We
everywhere,
should consider,
right?
Oh, yeah.
you know, northern allowance.
I mean,
I really have an issue with the tar for jacking up rates annually for the last decade. Now it's really having an impact in this territory, and it's got to stop.
Yeah.
You know, that organization needs to be held accountable, and certainly issuing bonuses to executives with publicly funded dollars should be illegal,
especially when they're not making any money.
especially when they're not making money.
Hotel.
You know, like we have one of the highest grade geothermal sites right in this immediate region, you know? We gotta look at the solutions here.
Yeah, it's expensive. You get a carbon tax rebate, or you don't pay carbon tax on heating fuel, but you pay carbon tax on propane. And I don't know why, it's also heating.
We're paying carbon tax on fuel.
Yeah.
And that's increasing.
No, heating fuel, we don't pay carbon tax,
We did
But-
tax
but on propane, we pay carbon tax.
Carbon sinks in the world. And we're the biggest emitter.
Okay,
That's our carbon.
we'll call, special meeting SM 05-2024 to order at 8:38. Okay, nothing agenda. We have a resolution, well,
Councilor James Tesson.
moved by Councilor James Tetzel and seconded by Councilor Klee, that council adopt the agenda, special meeting SM 05-2024 as circulated. Show of hands in favor. Unanimous. 4. Okay, adopt the agenda. Any declarations of interest? Shouldn't be, no. None. There's no absences. Okay. We have a council resolution moved by Councilor Tetzel and moved by Councilor Cassidy Tetzel that the council move in camera at 8:39. So that's,
Oh, no, that's when it's roll call. You have to call them by name.
oh, we got to call them by name?
Yeah.
You can have that one. Okay? Just write it down. Counselor Pascal.
Yeah.
Ready to go on camera? Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Fee, yes. Counselor Tetzel James. Yes. Counselor Hassan,
Yes.
yes. Counselor Fraser.
Yes.
Fraser, yes. Counselor Shalhoub.
Yes.
Counselor Tetzel, yes.
And yes.
Yes.
It's supposed to be. And it's very now.
Turn off the camera.
Camera off.